Oh, how's it going, everybody? We're back for another edition of All In, where I'll pick a rock artist, I'll listen to their entire discography, and give my thoughts on it. The rules go kind of like this. The band in question must have 5 or more original studio albums. Cover albums can count. Generally, I don't talk about live or acoustic albums unless the tracks are original in that form. So, here we go. This week, we're staying in sort of the beginning of the 2000s here. So, we have Puddle of Mudd. That's right. So you got Wes and Company. And how did I get into Puddle of Mudd? It was sort of like many other rock artists I've discovered in the 2000s where, I hear them on the radio or back when MTV used to once in a while play music videos, I saw them on there. And I remember first hearing the song Control, and I believe it was the music video I saw on that song, like back in the MTV2 days, like I've said before. And of course, mainly the premise of this band is, talking about relationships and how they can be a pain in the ass and everything like that. But yeah, let's get into it. So, Puddle of Mudd, they have, how many do they have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you count the cover album, they have 9 original studio albums. And so they have their debut album, Abrasive, in 1997, ranging all the way to their brand new album, just recently released, called Kiss the Machine. Just released in 2025, as I'm taping this. But they were around actually before that. Like, they actually did an EP called Stuck back in 1994. So, we'll talk about that first before we get into all the albums here. So, I didn't know till maybe about 10, 12 years ago that they did this EP, along with the album Abrasive. Like, I always thought Come Clean was their first album, but no, I sort of, stepped back and discovered the other two. But those, Abrasive and Stuck, are, real hard to find, like on physical, and it's you can't really stream it or download it, so it's just rare to find. You'd have to go to YouTube if you want to listen to those tracks, but here, with Stuck, you have You Don't Know, Used. They did do Drift and Die on here, and of course, when Drift and Die made it to Come Clean, then they ended up, making the song a little more polished, a little more produced. You got Harassed, Poke Out My Eyes, Prisoner, and Suicide. And You Don't Know, believe it or not, is actually on one of the very later albums too. So it's a lot of the songs you see on this EP and on their first full-length album reappear on a lot of their later albums. So it's they almost rehashed the earlier songs here. But okay, so let's see. Abrasive. So this is the other album that I didn't really know about until, a few years ago. So we start off with the song Abrasive. We got Nobody Told Me, which then surfaced on the Come Clean album. We got Stressed Out, Hourglass Man, Migraine, Said, All I Asked For, Purple Heart, Locket, Time, and the song Piss It All Away, which also appeared on Come Clean, I believe. So then, moving on to what I bought on physical copy. So, here we have Come Clean. This was definitely their breakout album for sure. With the breakout song Control is their first song. Love that song. And then you have Drift and Die, which was real good. Like I said, it was on Stuck first. You got Out of My Head, another good one. Nobody Told Me, which was on one of the 2 earlier albums. Which one was that? I'm thinking that was on Stuck. No, it wasn't. I was wrong. Sorry. Then you have Blurry. You have She Hates Me because she fucking hates me. I love that. I love the one lyric when it goes she was clean for about an hour. That's funny. You got Breaking Me Down, Never Change, Basement, Said, and we end it here with Piss It All Away, just like we did on Abrasive. Now, something to note about Abrasive, going back to that one, the song Abrasive did get released on their Greatest Hits compilation. So, okay, going back to their their more 2000s stuff here. Great album. Loved it. I tell you, it's been years since I sat down and listened to this album. Just total time warp. So then we move on to their fourth album. Well, third album, technically. We have Life on Display. Again with the brown cover. We start off with Away From Me, and it seems like they really start off with a solid song on each album. That's kind of the theme here. You got Hill Overhead, Nothing Left to Lose, Change My Mind, real cool song, Spin You Around, Already Gone, the song Think, Cloud 9, Bottom, Freak the World, Sydney, and Time Flies. And then if you get the bonuses, you have Life Ain't Fair, Daddy, and Bleed, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bleed was on a soundtrack or something. I'm thinking that's how it was. Yeah, it was on the Punisher soundtrack. That's where that one came from. But, again, another solid effort by these guys. Love this album, too. So, moving on to the next one, we have, in 2007, we have Famous, right here. And, again, I think they were at the top of their game by this point. You have, of course, we start off with Famous, really good, solid tune. We have Living on Borrowed Time, which is, I wonder if that's another one that was on the, it wasn't on this one. Let's see. No, that was not on either of them. Yeah, I thought Living on Borrowed Time was on one of the older EPs, but it's not. We got It Was Faith, Psycho, which is real good. We Don't Have to Look Back Now, Moonshine, Think About You, Merry-Go-Round, I'm So Sure, Radiate, and If I Could Love You. And, yeah, like I said, those first three were real solid. And then we move on to Volume 4. So, running out the 2000s, this came out in 2009. Love this album, too. That whole decade just kicks ass. So here, we start off with Stoned. Again, starting off with another good solid track. Then we move on to Spaceship, another good one. We have Keep It Together, Out of My Way, Blood on the Table, The Only Reason, Pitch in a Fit, Unimass, Better Place, and Hooky. And I love Hooky. Hooky's a damn good song. That one lyric just cracks me up. It's I don't want to go to school today. I want to sit home and masturbate. It's hilarious. I love that lyric. And then, if you get the deluxe edition version of this, you also get acoustic versions of Spaceship, Better Place, and Stoned. Real cool bonuses on that one. So, yeah, pretty much that entire decade. I definitely recommend it for sure. So then, moving on to the 2010s, this is kind of a very weird, very dead decade for them. So, 2011, we get their cover album called Rediscovered. So, yeah, basically all they did was just, 12 covers. Well, 11 covers, actually. So, we start off with Gimme Shelter, which was Rolling Stones. We got Old Man, which was Neil Young. TNT, which was AC/DC. I didn't much care for that cover, honestly. But Gimme Shelter and Old Man were actually pretty good. You get Stop Dragging My Heart Around, which was Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks. He did the duet with, who was that? BC Jean. We have The Joker, which was Steve Miller Band. We have Everybody Wants You, which was Billy Squier. Rocket Man, which is Elton John. And that cover wasn't too bad. All Right Now, which was Free. Shooting Star, which was Bad Company. Dire Maker, which was Led Zeppelin. I didn't much care for that cover. And we end it with Funk 49, which was the James Gang. So, yeah, I mean, they were covers. I didn't like all of them, but I think Funk 49 was good as a cover. Give Me Shelter and Old Man, they were good. The Joker was good, but moving on, they took a major hiatus, and then in 2019, we get Welcome to Galvania. And at this point, I I didn't really purchase anything of theirs until like very, very recently. So I never really knew this album existed till maybe like a year or two later after it got released. And I remember hearing one of the tracks on Octane. I think it was the song "Uh-Oh," and I don't remember liking it too well when I first heard it. But it's kind of one of them songs that sort of grew on me as I listened to it more. They just kind of like, I think at this point, I would call this like their dad rock album, you know. But anyhow, so we start off with "You Don't Know." We have "Uh-Oh." We have "Go to Hell." We have "Deceased Almost." "My Kinda Crazy." "Time of Our Lives." "Sunshine." "Just Tell Me." "Kiss It All Goodbye." "Slide Away." And they did a censored version of "Uh-Oh." So it's like, "Uh-oh, I fucked it up again." So I'm thinking he's still like talking about relationships and whatnot. So kind of still sticking to that whole theme. So then moving on, we're in the 2020s now. So we get the album Ubiquitous from 2023. And I think of all their albums, I think it's got the coolest cover art, no doubt. It's got like that real minty green. It's got Puddle of Mudd in minty green and has like a picture of a road and like, I don't know what you call it, like sort of like red lines along the sky. It's kind of weird. But what do we got here? So we have "My Baby," "Dance With Me," "Keshin Cobain," "Butterface," "Candy," "Running Out of Time," "Man in the Mirror," "You Wrecked Me," "Complication," "California," and we end it with "Poke Out My Eyes," which, as I mentioned earlier, "Poke Out My Eyes" was on the Stuck EP. This is a very exact version. They put it at the end of this album. And I actually did like this album better than the last one for sure. In my mind, it's sort of like a comeback for them. So then we move on to "Kiss the Machine," which came out literally maybe like a month or two ago. It really, May 2nd of 25. I'm taping this in June. Yeah, so like a month and a half ago they released this one. And they kept it short and sweet with only 9 tracks and a half hour. So it could be an EP, but it's sort of like called a full album. I don't know why they do this. But here we have "Butimus," we have "Free," "In Love with a Dancer," "Back Against the Wall," "Firefly," "Maniac," "Baby You the Best," "Everything," and we end up with "Win Win Win." Now, I found out about 2 months ago about them releasing this album, or actually it was already released when I found out about it, but Wes has been doing videos on the Puddle of Mudd Facebook page of whenever they release albums and whatnot. We're not really releasing albums, but sort of like a vlog. So he's driving around in his Honda, and he pulls into a Jiffy Lube, blasting the song Butimus. He was like playing that song, and these young kids working at this Jiffy Lube did not know the band Puddle of Mudd. Like that tells you how old I feel, Like Puddle of Mudd was like fucking everywhere when I was those kids' age, and these kids are like, I never even heard of this band. Well, then Wes kind of like sat there and looked everything up on the phone and showed it to the kids. It's like, oh yeah, and then the kids started getting selfies with him and everything once they realized, he was once a famous rock star. So, kind of a cool way to promote this latest album. But, oh no, not too bad. But, anyhow, before I rate the albums, I do want to talk about my concert experiences with Puddle of Mudd. I did get to see them live 3 times. Should have been 4 times, but as you well know, Wes has his moments with the law and everything. And believe it or not, I actually have ticket stubs to all the Puddle of Mudd shows I've been to. So, let's see here. I got them all arranged here. So, yeah, so they were with Korn at Mellon Arena in Pittsburgh in 2002. First time I saw them live. The second time was in 2010 in Philadelphia at Penn's Landing. They were with Shinedown for the Carnival of Madness tour. And that show, I believe, I think that was the best performance of Puddle of Mudd I've ever seen. I liked it way better than the one in Pittsburgh for sure. At that point, I think it was Volume 4 they called it. Yeah, Volume 4 had just come out, so they had just released, what I call all their good albums at that point. And then we come up to 2012, Rock Legion's tour in Hershey, Rug Legion's show. Saw them there. And then I was supposed to see them a fourth time. They even got Puddle of Mudd on the ticket stub, as you can see here. We were supposed to see them at Shiley Acres in 2014. Well, lo and behold, Wes gets in trouble, so they can't come to the show. So I'm thinking who headlined this show. I'm thinking it was Nonpoint that ended up being the headliner after that happened. So that was the fourth time I was supposed to see them, and you guys know what happened there. But anyhow, they were good to see live. I did enjoy them live. But yeah, so moving on to ratings. Let's see here. So how do I split this up? Now I'm not really going to talk much about the 90s Puddle of Mudd because, you know, a lot of what we got in the 2000s to now is like rehashed stuff. Like, I did forget to mention on that Welcome to Gavania album, You Don't Know actually was one of the tracks on the EP, like on the earlier material. Like, which one? Well, yeah, oh yeah, it was the first one on Stuck. So yeah, so they've been, like, even in the later albums, they've been sort of, like, bringing back their earlier tunes here. But we're going to talk about 2000's Puddle of Mudd, which I guess we'll put Abrasive in there with that. So my favorite album off of that, I'm going to simply say for nostalgia purposes, definitely Come Clean. Damn good album there. I'm not really going to count Abrasive in the ratings because it was sort of like, I would say like a lot of that was not really demos, but you know what I mean. But it's kind of hard to pick my least favorite out of this because I loved all four of them albums. Like, I don't know, I didn't hate it, but I'm going to say Famous is probably my least favorite. Volume 4 was the shit. I love that album. So, like, Come Clean was definitely at the top. Close top between Life on Display and Volume 4, and then Famous kind of bringing up the rear there. So then we'll move on to 2010s to now. And, you know, you got the Discovered album, the Rediscovered album. You know, it was covers, so I'm not really going to fault it. Didn't hate it. But as far as my favorite from this era, definitely Ubiquitous from 2023. I feel like it was sort of a nod to the old times. And then The Kiss the Machine was alright. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. Welcome to Gavania, probably my least favorite after the first song. So yeah, Puddle of Mudd, another good band from the 2000s era. They're sort of at it again now, unless, you know, if Wes stays out of jail, they're still at it. I do know, like, one of our good friends from the Silver Tongue Nation, she's a big fan of them. Like, follows them almost everywhere they go. I know, like, they recently just played a small venue in Chambersburg, so they're still out there. They're still, you know, they're still playing. They're still drawing their hardcore fans. But, you know, if it wasn't for, like, Limp Bizkit, if it wasn't for Fred Durst, Puddle of Mudd probably wouldn't be famous. It was thanks to Fred Durst and getting, like, the lineup together for Come Clean, and that's when that album was just an instant hit. Just out of nowhere when Control came out. But anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this All-In featuring Puddle of Mudd. So, next All-In's gonna be a pretty big one, a pretty long one. That's what she said. So, this next one's gonna be a very old band that's still around today. They go way back to the 60s. Find out who it is next time.